In 2020, Final Fantasy VII Remake was so well received that it attracted a new generation of gamers that FF7 had never experienced before. The level of interest and demand for Final Fantasy VII is at an all-time high, and Square Enix is naturally responding to this with more FF7 productions. The latest of these is Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion, a next-generation remaster of the previously PSP-exclusive prequel. While Crisis Core has received a complete graphical overhaul and some quality-of-life improvements, it's largely the same game as it was in 2008, and the issues are even more glaring. Crisis Core is set years before the start of Final Fantasy VII, and introduces key FF7 characters who shape the events of the series. The player takes on the role of Zack Fair, a young and hopeful member of the Soldier Corps within the Shinra Electric Power Company. Zack wants to be one of the few Soldier first-class agents and thinks a promotion will help him achieve his dream of becoming a hero. He idolizes his mentor and friend Angeal, as well as fellow first-class members, Sephiroth and Genesis, when Genesis suddenly abandons Shinra on a standard mission, taking much of Soldier's forces with him. Zack is deployed to complete the mission and find out why Genesis defected. What he discovers during this mission will make him question his role as a Soldier agent, his loyalty to Shinra, and what it means to be a hero. Given that Crisis Core is directly related to FF7 Remake, Reunion provides important context for the series in a much more accessible form. Even now, Crisis Core has the structure of a good story, the relationship dynamics are intriguing, and the overarching themes are still captivating. Overall, the game reflects on the difference between duty and servitude, as well as the ways vengeance and redemption can manifest in its world. On the other hand, the contrived script is still the main problem of the narrative, full of hair-raising dialogue and increasingly confusing motifs. This is especially noticeable when paired with FF7 Remake's much better written story. The mechanics and divisive systems of the original Crisis Core made some useful changes to the gameplay in Crisis Core Reunion, but most of the fundamental problems of the game remain. The slow, inflexible combat of the original has thankfully been replaced with something more reminiscent of FF7 Remake. The underlying combat system is largely the same, and it's just too simplistic for its own good. Zack still has a fairly limited moveset despite the range of different equipable materials, and the AI is often passive and easy to manipulate. Even big bosses are disappointing. The digital mind wave system also returns, and while it's far less intrusive now, it still relies almost entirely on random chance. It was one of the most criticized aspects of Crisis Core to have key gameplay elements like level-ups and limit breaks locked into a slot machine, and that hasn't changed in Reunion. Unfortunately, the game's secondary content isn't much different either. While Crisis Core Reunion has new dialogue and other minor additions, the side quests are mostly disposable and irrelevant to the characters or the plot. The game's environments have received a distinct graphical upgrade, but are still limited in generic environments with a corridor-like level design. Crisis Core's restricted zones are actually less impressive now than they were on PSP hardware back then, and they don't do justice to Final Fantasy VII's vast and diverse world. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion still holds a place in the hearts of many veterans of the series and the world of Final Fantasy VII, and remains relevant to the FF7 Remake series. However, even the original Crisis Core received a lot of justifiable criticism, and Reunion doesn't do much to address those points. It's nice to have a prettier, more functional and more accessible version of this prequel for the PSP, but it's still hard to recommend it as a game. Fans who got into the series through FF7 Remake will experience a stark difference in quality, and may wonder what all the fuss was about. Zack's tragic story deserved a better retelling on modern hardware, and Crisis Core Reunion ultimately feels like a missed opportunity. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion is out now on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series X, S, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Our rating, 3 out of 5. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe and support my channel.